Hello everyone. So far in chapter 8, we have studied about various different methods of solving differential equations. For example, we have solved the differential equations by using variable separable method in exercise 8.3, and similarly, we have also solved differential equations by using substitution method when we were solving homogeneous differential equations, that is in exercise 8.4. Now today we are going to look at the solution of a linear differential equation. Now before beginning the topic, do you remember what is the degree of a differential equation? That is, for example, if the equation is this way, that is dy by dx plus say d2y by dx2, say the whole cube is equal to say 0. In this case, you see that the highest order derivative is d2y by dx2. That means the order of the differential equation, this is a differential equation and its order is 2. The power of this highest order derivative, that is d2y by dx2, here is 3, and therefore the degree is 3. So now I hope you remember what is the meaning of degree of a differential equation. Similarly, if I give you one more example, suppose we have an equation like this. Okay, now in this case, in this differential equation, you see that the highest order derivative is the third order derivative, that is d3y by dx cube. Therefore, we say that the order is 3, but the power of the highest order derivative is 1. It is raised to the power 1, and therefore degree is 1. So now, what is a linear differential equation? A linear differential equation is one in which the degree of the derivative is 1. Degree of the differential equation is 1. So degree is 1. It may be, so for example, this particular equation is a linear differential equation which has the degree 1. However, here we are going to study ordinary linear differential equations of the first order. So we are going to study only the first order linear differential equations. That is, those which contain only dy by dx. So that is those having only dy by dx as the derivative. So that way, or dx upon dy, whatever the case may be. So this is a type of differential equations that we are going to learn to solve over here, a type of this. Now, example, the general form. Let me give you the general form of this differential equation. The general form is given by dy by dx plus py is equal to q. Here, P and Q are either constants or functions of x. So in this case, such an equation is known as a linear differential equation of the first order, that is it. So this form is what we are going to study just now. Now before that, what are the conditions which have to be met with by a linear differential equation? Now for an equation to be a linear differential equation of any order, certain conditions are to be met. First of all, the degree of the differential equation should be 1. Degree should be 1. In this case, let us take the prototype example of this particular equation, that is it, the given equation. So degree of the differential equation should be 1. For example, in this case, dy by dx. Okay, the degree of this equation is 1. The power of this derivative is 1, and therefore degree is 1. That is the first condition. Second condition, power of each differential quotient is also 1. Power of each differential quotient is also 1. For example, if we have this linear differential equation such as dy by dx plus d2y by dx2 plus d3y by dx cube, etc. Suppose this is an equation. Then in this case, as you can see, the power of each differential quotient, see dy by dx, d2y by dx2, d3y by dx cube, these are all called as differential quotients over here. The power of each of these differential quotients is going to be 1 for a linear differential equation. However, we are not going to think about this part over here because we are only going to deal with this type of equations. That is why. Okay. Anyway, the third condition to be fulfilled by a linear differential equation is that the power of the dependent variable is also 1. Power of the dependent variable is 1. In this case, the differential variable for our differential equation, the standard form, the dependent variable is y. X is the independent variable. See, in the beginning of the lecture, beginning of the chapter, I told you what is dependent and independent variables. So, y is a dependent variable. Why? How do we know this? Because we have dy by dx. That means x is the independent variable. So, in this case, the power of the dependent variable should be 1. Then one more condition to be obeyed for an equation to be linear is that no term on the LHS, no term on the left hand side contains a product of the dependent variable, that is y, and its differential quotient, differential coefficient. That is, no term contains y dy by dx. This should not be there on the LHS. If it is there, we are going to modify it so that dy by dx contains the coefficient only 1. No other coefficient is there with dy by dx, that is there. So, suppose an equation satisfies all these 4 conditions, then we can say that it is a linear differential equation. Okay, let me give you examples of non-linear differential equations just for you to understand. See, an example of a linear differential equation we already saw. Now, what is a non-linear differential equation? Non-linear differential equation, let me write it as a short form. Examples, and I'll tell you why they are non-linear in nature. For example, if you have a differential equation such as d3y by dx cube, say the whole square, minus anything, say so suppose this is an equation. Again, it's a differential equation, but is it a linear differential equation? You will say no, because the degree of the differential equation is 2 and not 1. One of the main conditions is that degree should be 1. So this is not a linear differential equation. It's a non-linear differential equation. Similarly, one more example, let me give it to you all. Again here, as you can see, this equation contains dy by dx also and d2y by dx2. But then the power of each differential quotient, see d2y by dx2, the power is 1. dy by dx, the power is 2. And therefore, again, it is a non-linear differential equation because the power of each differential quotient is not 1. And therefore, this becomes a non-linear differential equation. So, in this way, once you solve a few sums, you'll be able to recognize which are differential equations and which are linear differential equations and which are non-linear differential equations. So over here, let me now tell you the steps of solving a differential equation, linear differential equation, what we are going to do in this particular exercise. So for example, if our differential equation is dy by dx plus py is equal to q. This is the standard form of the linear differential equation. we are going to solve only first order linear differential equations. That means the degree of the dy by dx is 1 always, and only dy by dx will be there. There will be no second order or higher derivatives. So what are the steps for solving a linear differential equation of such a type? First of all, when you are given the linear differential equation, you make the coefficient. First step, make the coefficient of dy by dx as 1. Make the coefficient of dy by dx as 1. So this is the first step. Then the second step, write the equation in the form. Sometimes the coefficient will not be 1, so we have to make it 1 by using suitable methods. Then second step, write the equation in the form, this particular solvable form that is there, that is dy by dx plus py is equal to q, where p and q are either constants or they are functions of x, never y in this case, they are functions of x actually. So write the equation in this form. Then the third and a very important step, use the integrating factor. Use the integrating factor, that is if, as integral, it is e raised to integral p dx. So remember this carefully. Now what is the meaning of an integrating factor? Now in maths, an integrating factor is a function which is used to solve differential equations, especially linear differential equations. So it is a function. See, integrating factor is a function in which an ordinary differential equation can be multiplied, with which an ordinary differential equation can be multiplied to make that function integrable. Matlab, it makes it easier to solve a differential equation if you multiply that equation with an integrating factor that is there. This you will understand when we actually solve differential equations. Then once we find out what is the integrating factor, which is e raised to integral p dx, it will be different in every sum. Okay, once we understand what is this integrating factor, then we can write the solution of the differential equation. So solution of the equation is written as y into integrating factor. Remember, integrating factor, you can write it in short form if, no need to write the full form each time. If, it is understood, some short forms are allowed. So y into integrating factor is equal to integral q into integrating factor dx plus c. So once we find out this answer, this is the solution of the differential equation. So these are the steps which are used to solve a linear differential equation of the first order, such as this one. So go through it properly, and then we'll begin with the exercise 8.5. But before beginning with exercise 8.5, there might be questions where you might get the equation this form, that is dx upon dy plus px is equal to q. So in this case, y is the independent variable and x is the dependent variable. So to solve such equations also, the steps are similar. That is, the first step, make the coefficient of dx upon dy as 1. So coefficient of dx upon dy becomes 1. In the second step, like we saw in the previous case, okay, we write the equation. We get the equation into dx upon dy plus px is equal to q. We write the equation in this form first. Then third step, in this case now, the integrating factor becomes e raised to integral p into dy. Okay, the integrating factor becomes e raised to p dy. Okay, where we are integrating with respect to y, which is the independent variable. And in the fourth step, the solution The solution also, the step is the same. That is, in this case, it becomes x into integrating factor. X into the integrating factor is equal to integral q into the integrating factor plus c. So this becomes this thing. So we write over here x into e raised to integral p dy is equal to integral q into e raised to integral p dy plus c. Now exercise 8.5 involves the question that is solve the following differential equations. In that, the first question, dy by dx plus y is equal to e raised to minus x. So here we compare this equation. So comparing with dy by dx plus py is equal to q, we are going to get p. See, compare both the equations, this equation and this equation. We see that dy by dx plus y is given. That means p in this case is 1. So we get p is equal to 1. And on the RHS, q, the factor term q is similar to e raised to minus x. That means we have q is equal to e raised to minus x. So this way. And then the integrating factor which is given by the formula e raised to integral p dx, which is written as e raised to integral. In this case, p is 1. For us, p is 1. So as a result, it becomes 1 dx. And you know that the integral of 1 is nothing but x. And therefore, we get e raised to x. So the integrating factor becomes e raised to x. Now the solution. So the solution of the given equation. The solution of the given differential equation is given by y into integrating factor. Y into integrating factor is equal to integral q into integrating factor. This you have to learn it as a formula and keep it in mind. So q into integrating factor dx plus c. So this way. So as a result, over here we have y into r integrating factor. Our integrating factor is e raised to x. As you can see over here, we got e raised to x as our if. So as a result, y into e raised to x is equal to integral. Q was e raised to minus x. So e raised to minus x, that is q, into the integrating factor, that is e raised to x dx plus c. So LHS remains the same over here. In the RHS, e raised to minus x is 1 upon e raised to x. Again into e raised to x dx plus c. E raised to x can be cancelled, and therefore we are getting y into e raised to x is equal to integral 1 dx plus c. And therefore y e raised to x is equal to, the integral of 1 becomes x. So x plus c. So thus this becomes our answer. Study this sum properly. Most of the steps are same for all the sums. In the next sum, the question is dy by dx plus y is equal to 3. Again, we compare it with dy by dx plus py is equal to q. So we compare it with this and we get p over here as 1. As you can see, p is 1 and q becomes 3. So our integrating factor, which is e raised to integral p dx, becomes e raised to integral 1 dx, because p is 1 and integral of 1 is x. So we get e raised to x as our integrating factor. So therefore the solution of the given equation, which is written in the form y into integrating factor is equal to integral q into integrating factor dx plus c. and this we substitute all the values over here. So we get y into e raised to x, because integrating factor is e raised to x, is equal to integral q is 3. So 3 into e raised to x dx plus c. Now 3 being a constant can be brought out of the integral sign, and we know that the integral of e raised to x is e raised to x itself. So we get the equation as y into e raised to x is equal to 3 e raised to x plus c. So since we have removed all the differentiation, all the derivatives are removed from here, this becomes the solution of the differential equation. Now the third sum, the question is x dy by dx plus 2y is equal to x square log x. As you can see over here, we cannot start the sum directly, because from here dy by dx the coefficient should be 1. So to make it 1, we divide each term by x. So the first step here is dividing each term by x. We get dy by dx is equal to, it becomes dy by dx plus 2y upon x is equal to x square divided by x gives us x. So x log x. Now we compare. Now this is of a standard form of a linear differential equation of the first order, and so we compare it with this particular equation, that is general equation. So we get over here p is equal to, now py, so y is kept as it is, so p becomes 2 upon x. So p becomes 2 upon x and q becomes x log x, because on the RHS of the equation we have x log x. So q becomes x log x. Then we find the integrating factor. So in this case the integrating factor is integral, it is e raised to integral p dx, which is e raised to integral 2 upon x dx, and this can be written as e raised to 2 integral 1 upon x dx, and you know that the integral of 1 upon x is log x, and so we get e raised to 2 log x as our integrating factor. But this we can simplify even further. So e raised to 2 log x, e raised to 2 log x can be written as e raised to log x the whole square, log x square, because as you know the number which is multiplied with the logarithm can be written as a power over here. So e raised to log x square. Now remember one very basic rule which I am going to tell you. If we have e raised to log x, say log 5, it can be written as 5. E raised to log 2 can be written as 2. That means e raised to log x square, yes, it becomes just x square. So this term becomes x square. So our integrating factor is equal to x square, as you can see over here. Now the solution of the equation. The equation can be solved as this way, that is putting the formula y into integrating factor is equal to integral q into integrating factor dx plus c. So we get over here y into x square, because that is our integrating factor finally. Y into x square is equal to integral q into integrating factor. For us in this case q was actually x square log x, that is x log x into x square, which is our integrating factor dx plus c. I hope I understood that. Q was x log x, which we had got earlier, and integrating factor is the same thing, x square in this case. We can go one step further before integrating, that is this becomes y into x square is equal to integral x cube log x. So let me write it as log x into x cube dx plus c. Now LHS remains as it is, but what about the RHS? How to solve the RHS further? Now you observe over here that this particular equation is of the form u into v. Isn't it? So integral u into v dx. So we use the product rule of integration, product formula for integration. So u into v dx, the integral of this term, if you remember, it would be integral, that is, it would be u integral v dx minus integral d dx of u into integral v dx dx. This is a rule which we learned in our chapter 5. So this is what we are going to use over here because we have two terms over here. And how to decide which becomes u and which becomes v? Of course, you know the rule LAE, isn't it? Where L, according to LAE, L is the logarithmic term, A is the algebraic term, E is the exponential term. Here we have logarithmic term and the algebraic term. So as a result, the logarithmic term comes first, it becomes u. So as a result, u is log x and a, that is the second term, v becomes x cube. So thus our integral on the RHS comes out this way. That is, therefore y into x square is equal to, now u integral v dx. So we have log x integral x cube dx using the same formula minus integral d dx of log x into integral x cube dx, the whole into dx. So this becomes our formula. This becomes our sum further. Now going further over here, y into x square is equal to log x into, now what is the integral of x cube? It becomes x raised to 4 upon 4 minus integral d dx of log x is 1 upon x into the integral of x cube is x raised to 4 upon 4 dx. One of the x gets cancelled. So we get x cube in the numerator and we can take 1 upon 4 outside as a constant. So we get y into x square is equal to, the first term on the RHS remains the same. It is as good as solved. In the second term, we take 1 upon 4 common, integral x cube dx. Now we know that the solution for integral x cube is x raised to 4 upon 4. Everywhere you are supposed to write plus c. This plus c has to be written here in all these steps. Then we have y into x square is equal to, now here x cube becomes x raised to 4 upon 4 plus c. So writing it in a proper manner, we have y into x square is equal to x raised to 4 upon 4 log x minus x raised to 4 upon 16 plus c. So thus we solve this particular equation that is there. So in this lecture, basically, we have seen what is the meaning of a linear differential equation. We have also seen the method of solving a linear differential equation. The first 3 sums of the exercise 8.5 have been solved. There are still 5 more sums rather to be solved, but that we'll see in the next lecture. Thank you so much for listening.